Well, hello again. It's been an extremely hectic day for me, and it's not over yet. It's only just past 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is the video for the 25th of August in 2016, and the title is, If Change is Up to Us Alone, We Lose. The idea of our Creator being responsible for creation is ludicrous to someone who has been brainwashed to think that religion's idea of God is truthful. It's not. It's riddled with lies and half-truths. Therefore, many take an atheistic approach, rejecting any suggestion of purposeful creation. Sorry, but I don't buy into the accidental occurrence idea of a world where I have thought since my childhood that there really is purpose and meaning to our human lives. As I've said before, if life has no meaning, then I want out of the charade. In that case, I'm truly sorry I was deceived, and even more sorry that I exist. Then I am an anomaly. For me, life does have meaning and purpose. And if it's up to us alone to figure it out in a confusing maze of contradictions, we do not stand a chance of survival. As I see it, God includes a wide range of beings that go beyond what we see. Yes, I mean angelic or other realms that intersect our human experience as well as the spiritual aspect of our own nature. I make no apology for calling on First Source to remedy the horrific situation in which the worst humans, possibly backed by demons, run the world for false profit and dictatorial power and control. That recently, of course, there have been those that suggest to me that I'm crazy for thinking that God's going to fix anything. Either they don't believe in God at all, or they believe that God just set everything in motion and then leaves it on its own. And God is a non-involved creator at worst. They don't even believe that there is a creator, that everything just is an accident, which is ludicrous. It's insane to me to believe that when we look around the world at all that's here, that it just all came into existence by accident. It's like picking up a stopwatch and saying, wow, look at this. I wonder how the elements all came together in just the right proportions and just the right shapes to form this beautiful timepiece, this beautiful stopwatch. I wonder how that happened. It's got to be, it's got to be evolution. It's got to be some mystical thing that I don't understand, because I've just ruled out the possibility that somebody actually made the watch. But, I consider it ludicrous to think like that. That's only someone that's insane thinks like that. And if I'm calling you insane, turn me off. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm telling you my point of view. I don't wish to argue with anybody. If you don't like what I say, don't listen. But don't argue, because I'm not going to argue back. You're entitled to your viewpoint as I am to mine. But I've spent my whole life since I was a little boy believing that I had a living relationship with what I called God. Now, my viewpoints of who God is and what God is and how God is involved in life and in the world that I live in, that has shifted. That has not remained the same my entire life. I have not bought into some religious theory that I was taught. I have explored religions my whole life and various viewpoints. And I find within all religions elements of truth, all of them. None of them are God's religion. God doesn't have a religion. to me. The idea of believing that God formed a religion is as ludicrous as believing there is no God. Because why would God be the author of confusion? And all religion has ever given humanity in our entire history that we are aware of is confusion. And we're told that God is not the author of confusion. And I buy that. I believe it. I believe that God is not the author of confusion. Confusion comes when somebody that's trying to deceive comes into the picture and manipulates creation, and worse, manipulates human beings so that our full capacity is turned off. And we only have our sexual capacity and certain mental capacities, but not majorly so. And my high CP usage is ridiculous. I have one browser open with a few pages. It's absolutely insane. That means somebody else on Windows 10 is using my computer with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Impossible for it to be at maximum usage. But anyway, God, and that's just a word that I'm using. I'm not stuck on the word. You can call it first source, you can call it supreme being, you can call it whatever you want, prime creator. Make up your word, it doesn't matter. God is just something that's common to most people in the English language. And that's the word that is most familiar to me as well. So I use the word God, but I'm not stuck on that word. Neither am I stuck on any particular concept other than the fact that a creator has to exist, because it's ludicrous to think otherwise. And yet so many people do, and I understand. I understand, because if you've gotten your viewpoint of God from religion, religion is so convoluted that you would end up believing there is no God, because how could God create this mess? And you're right, God didn't create the mess. Somebody was allowed to create it, though, and that's where I think God has to step in and draw a line. And he doesn't do it by himself or itself or herself, whatever God is. God uses the angelic realm. He uses awakened human beings. He uses people. But we, as human beings, need to have those codons that were turned off by the dark forces turned back on, so that we have full access of our talents, gifts, and abilities that were given to us in original creation, according to the way Anastasia tells the story, which again is the most mind-boggling and mind-opening and expanding concepts that I've ever seen. At the beginning of creation, it was not like it is now. It deteriorated to become what it is now. We have not evolved, we've devolved. We've gone backwards, and it's time now to stop the backward slide and rise back up and remember who we are and fulfill our destiny as creatures of creator, as being and becoming creators ourselves. That's the whole thing. We become creators. And somewhere along the line, we took the power of creation and we distorted it so that the worst elements, as I said in the blurb, the worst elements came into being. This is wrong. And it's obvious to me, to anybody that doesn't have their mind clouded, to think that we're the ones that are in charge. And so what we say goes. I mean, bullshit. You are the ones that are the problems when you think like that. And you don't have to agree with me. I'm not going to argue with you. But I'm telling you, that's how I see it. And I hope a lot of people are beginning to see it that way, and that we become activists with God's power flowing through us and God's creative abilities being turned on within us, so that we can create the heaven on earth that I and many others have envisioned throughout our lifetime. Thank you for listening, and namaste.